Okay, and we are live. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I hope today will be such an amazing day. First, let me thank you, the TDRA, for hosting such a great session and for hosting me and allowing me to be with you today. We will speak about one of the most interesting and conflicted topics, conflict management style. My name is Sarah Ramadan. I'm a trainer business development consultant. It will be such a great honor for me to join you today and also to listen to your experience about conflict management. We are live via YouTube, so it would be great if you can share. I will be trying to catch your comments, your feedback, and your questions on the YouTube as well. So please, let's start and let's have something that will be amazing today about conflict management, understand more why we conflict and what's conflict. Is it always negative to have conflict, or sometimes it's very beneficial? So I guess on the YouTube, you can share with us. You can start to say what's happened with you, what's conflict for you exactly. So let's start directly now, and we go for what's conflict. In the beginning, whenever we say the word conflict, sometimes it's misperceived, we can say. It's not always giving the best impression about it. But let's imagine this scenario to explain more what's conflict. Imagine that if Ahmad is working and he's sending an email for the whole team, but he bypassed his manager, Sarah. That might bring some kind of sensations that will be very negative with Sarah, that Ahmad bypassed and he's not considering her in the team. And she starts a loop of blaming and claiming that Ahmed is violating the rules, he's not following the aspect of the system, whatever you can call it. These scenarios that happen 24/7, every day, even with our colleagues, co-workers, or even with ourselves, can cause what we call it the conflict. The conflict, mainly, it's a short disagreement. It's an opposition of interest, ideas, something that might be very reflecting to what we live in, what we see right, and what we see wrong. So it's very normal to have conflict every day because conflict is natural. It's what we do. We are doing different parts. Today, we will deep dive to check what's conflict and where it comes. Can really conflict cause an issue with our teams? Can it affect on workspace and work productivity or no? So one by one and step by step, we can go through this conflict and we understand ourselves first and how I conflict with you, how I disagree, how I don't mention or like or dislike, whatever you can name it. And also how people perceive the conflict and why it can be a very complicated issue in every single team. So conflict can raise from individuals or groups because they are pursuing real or perceived incompatibility between their goals or even dreams and what they want to achieve or the interest that they have. So I guess at least every day you can find a single scenario, a step, something that's happened with you that caused conflict, either while you're bringing your coffee or you ask them for a soulmate or like a team to work with you or even with yourselves. Shall I do this or no? The big question that most people are asking most of the time, why we conflict? Why life is not that easy and we can go through it? Because conflict is part of life and most of the time you say it's either your way or my way. It's either what you do or what I'm doing. And that's why conflict is very crucial to check and see. Just imagine how many times you have different wants, goals, values than other teams, than your team members, your family, your friends. We are human, so it's very natural to have it. But is conflict is always bad? So we need to check. Okay, just I'm checking the YouTube and check it. Okay. Yes. So in workspace, we can really make sure that conflict can bring the best, we can say, cultivation, differentiation, or even diversity, because it will bring to the table every single value, every single idea from everyone. It's natural occurrence to have conflict, and the tendency to have conflict in workplace might be a sign, like a signal for this team interactivity and interaction, which is very, very essential for us. However, not all the cases the conflict will be positively received, and that's why sometimes it will affect in a very negative way morale, absenteeism rate, it can affect on our productivity, or even sometimes on our psychological aspect. You don't like to go to work because you have conflict with your manager. You don't like to go and work with this team because you know you will conflict in this part. So that's why time by time you find yourself in a conflict where you need to figure out how you do the management there and how you can go from this scenario to the other one. Let's now try to figure out what are the signs of conflict. What signs, if I can find within my team, then I can consider that might we have a conflict. Either it will be hidden or even very obvious and clear. We have many signs of conflict, and conflict actually it's a big topic because it causes a lot and it affects a lot the productivity and interactivity of the teams. And that's why we need to understand, is it really positive or negative conflict, and what we need to do to have it. Today, I will mention with you the main 6 points or signs. You can check it in your team, in your daily life. If you have it, that might bring some kind of like alarm that we have a conflict here. First, you can check if you have a withdrawal from the team. You have some people who are not engaged, who are not there. Whenever you need them, they are not present. And they prefer to be separate, they prefer to be alone, individual working more. Either this withdrawal can be because people are getting out of the company, they are getting out because they don't like the culture, the people, they have a reflection on this, or they are not participating enough. They are in the shade. So withdrawal from the team can be one of the big signs about that we have a conflict here. Second one will be lack of commitment. I'm not sure. Are you committed to this? Maybe. I don't have any certainty here. I don't feel that really I need to commit to any role inside my team, which is very irritating for everyone. So the lack of commitment also can bring lots of issues that we have conflicts. People are not sure that they can work together or they can be in alignment. So if your team are suffering from lack of commitment, you need to sit and check. Do they find any issues working together? Do they have any hidden conflict there? Or that might be something else we need to figure out. So lack of commitment can be also a very essential sign about the conflict there. Below the average or performance, like very crucial for us to check, because the good part about working together is bringing the best productivity, the best values, the best outcomes. But what if we are working together, but we below the average? We are having a very poor performance, or we are not fulfilling the needs of the work. The decrease in productivity also can bring lots of questions about why people are not able or compatible together, why they cannot work together in a very harmonious way, why they cannot work together in a very productive way, more synergism there. Do they have anything that will be hidden? Are they suffering from some kind of conflict, issues, hidden parts? They cannot go aligned. You need to check also with the productivity. And we found that more than 80% of the decrease of productivity will come from the disaligned teams together. Teams who are suffering from issues, either personal or even can be professional, and they are conflicting and they are not going together one by one. Also, we have too much meetings. We are meeting every day, every week. but our meetings are dysfunctional. We don't bring the best inside the table. We come, everyone giving his opinion, his likes, his dislikes, but we cannot find a common ground. So our meetings are not productive enough. They are dysfunctional. Sometimes those meetings are not only unproductive, but also they are like ruin the relationship inside. They are ruin the respect, the morale. And whenever you have this functional meeting, especially whenever you're going up with the managers, supervisors, leaders, you need to ask yourself why they cannot work together. Why those meetings cannot bring the best from everyone inside the room. Sometimes the disagreement, the very, very sharp opposing of opinions and values can bring a very dysfunctional meetings. And those dysfunctional meetings can really be a very big alarm for us that we have a conflict and we need to work on it and we need to figure out why. Moreover, we'll find absenteeism. I don't like to be here. Like either you go away totally from the company, from the environment, or you don't like to be there. So absenteeism rates will be very high in any organization. They are suffering from conflict and they cannot manage it in a very good way. Last but not least, the stress and apathy. I feel I'm stressed, very, very stressed inside my workplace. I feel that I cannot do my work very well. I cannot do whatever I need. Or even sometimes I have some potentials, but I cannot express. I feel that I'm stressed out. I'm so afraid, I'm so threatened to give any new ideas, innovations, bright suggestions, because I feel there is some tense here. Tension is very high inside my team. And also they are not going along. So you find people more feeling that they are frustrated, stressed out, or even they are feeling some kind, even physical pains. So if your team also suffering or you yourself suffering from something like this, you need to double check what brings this to the, is it conflict, unresolved conflict, conflicts that are managed in not a proper way, or we need to figure out what's happening behind. So those 6 signs, at least one of them, if it's there, we need to figure out what's happening and why it's there. And that's why the conflict management will take us to next step, which would be, we need to understand. If we mention that we have different wants and goals and everything, but why we cannot go aligned? Do we have different ways of how people are conflicting? Do you think that some people are taking different behavior while they are conflicting or no? So let's figure out this and check what would be. We're going to understand more what type of conflicts we have. Is it only one type that we have, professional one, or we have more than this? Because in different books, in different business books, you'll find that conflicts are totally different, and every single aspect of theory will segment it or differentiate it based on where it comes from. Is it only person to person or a group? So different ways. But here today, we will speak about the types of conflict from the origin, we can say, where they came from, where they arise. So basically, we can have a personalized conflicts that will come from one-to-one, interpersonal. These conflicts are very, very crucial because they come because you don't like me and I don't like you. It's only personal. You don't like dress, speak, talk, believe in what I do. And that's why I don't like you. Those personalized conflicts are very serious because whenever we got anything that will be personalized, very deep touching us, it will be very strong. And sometimes you will take the defense mechanism from this one. And that's why this defense mechanism can bring to the table lots of issues. And that's why also you need to consider it. Most of workplaces will call this a relationship conflict or affective conflict. That means for no reason, we can say clear reason. You don't like me, I don't like you. My boss never likes me. I don't know why. All the time I'm triggering something inside. And we'll speak about this when we talk about the management style that you are using while conflict. So relationship is very crucial. And sometimes if it's unresolved, it means issues will arise sooner or later, and it will be very harsh. So you need to take it very deep on this. Let's say also that regarding the relationship conflict, it will take us to look more and more about the company culture, because we all human and we have relation conflict that can be very constructive, because we can have a validation for different points or different beliefs or different opinions. But also it will need to be governed by what's right and what's wrong in this workplace. And that's why company culture is very essential here. If we are able as a manager to define the company culture, what will be accepted, what will be welcomed here, then a huge part of the relation conflict can be soothed and can be relaxed more. Managing employee conflicting, maybe it will be very easy for conflict plays if we can recognize if it's relational, it's personal, or professional. That will be one step ahead to validate or to assure that you understand why this conflict is here and why those people are looking for synergism or antagonism. The second, we can say, segment of the conflict will be substantive conflict. Substantive conflict that will be referred when based on the nature of the task we are doing. We are not clear about how the task or what task exactly should be done. This is associated with the intellectual disagreement among groups of people. And task conflict in workplace disagreement can accomplish lots of issues, because it can bring lots of new ideas, priority, or even different initiatives. But also it can include differing in attitudes, needs, behavior in the organization. And this is very, very essential. Imagine that you are sitting in a meeting with the top managers and you find that there is a big debate and conflict about allocation of resources. Everyone is disagreeing over the way the company should distribute its resources. And what task will take the priority for this year? And what task will take the biggest interest from the employees? So the task conflict is very technical, we can say, professional. It's easy to be managed if we can align, because here you have a blend between the personalized and the professional. Maybe I'm rightly, I totally disagree with the allocation of resources, but I need to feel that my team is more prior, more superior. So I need to give them a priority, not only task. So task conflict can come from professional and personal conflicts as well. We need to address what type of conflict we have. Is it task conflict or no? The third one will be one of the deepest one. We will have it all the time. This is the one that you will have between yourself and you. So that will be the value conflict. If you have a value conflict, that would means that your value will tell you what's wrong and what's right. And your value system will create a conflict and confrontation at workplace in two ways. Either it can be the employees' values don't align with the job itself. You are asking me for something that's not aligning with my value system. I don't believe in it. I don't like it. So that might bring a conflict or confrontation. The second, that two teams or two team members are like conflicting, contrasting belief system. I believe in something, but you believe in something different. Our value systems are too different, and that's why it also can impact. Imagine this example that we have a value conflict in workplace that include employees who want to spend more time at home with family. They have a value or a belief system that's family first, so they want to spend more time there. On the other side, other employees, they believe that no, we need to spend more time in office. That would be more productive and professional and work first. In this kind of values, different values, you will find a very, very big debating and conflicting. And we saw too much issues will come here, especially if my managers believe in something and I believe in something different. Then it will be very tense for us to bring a common table. It will be very hard for us to work. Actually, also this one can bring lots of new common grounds, maybe new table to discuss. Maybe it will bring a new opportunity for growth in our teamwork. But it needs you to be very open to understand that the value system of yourself will be totally different from others. What you believe in shouldn't be the same way how everyone else believes. Again, the culture of our organization, the system, the procedures that we have can help us a lot to resolve lots of conflicts here because it can give us the frame line, the value system, the lines where we can say, yes, this is acceptable inside or this is not acceptable. I remember one time we had one company we worked with, and the culture there that it should be very, very official. So even if you have a meeting with anyone from outside the company and they will come to your office, you cannot take any details from them. All details should be just kept. You cannot keep the business card for yourself. It's against the culture of the organization and value system. The values is not there. So I cannot take the business card. If I have any information, it should be written on the system, the computerized system, and should be handled with the procurement team or the supply team. It's not my issue. So I cannot have any direct contact with any client for any circumstances. And this kind of rules that govern the relationship inside organization smoothen a lot of conflicts that came after. Even if you have a different belief system that you like to be social, you like to interact with people, you like to have a direct or man-to-man call with your client, the system of the company will govern this and it will make you a roadmap what to do, what not to do. So the value conflict is one of the very, very essential ones. And some way you can have two types or subtypes here, either divergent conflict or convergent conflict. Diversion and conversion will be referring to the thinking style. How you think. Are you divergent? You like to have all the options, even with the same value, you like to be very spread away, or the convergent, you like to be a very laser focused. If we have an option, it will be only one option. We spend time with family, it means that you will work from home, and we have this kind of procedure, we have this kind of policy you will follow, and that's it. Others for divergent will get big options with the same value, with the same ideas, with the same belief system. You can have lots of the ideas. So those are the main three categories we can speak about today about the conflict. So we mentioned the personalized, we mentioned the task, and we mentioned the value. I'd like to check. Okay. I hope everything is clear to you now with you. If you'd like to share any experience about this kind of conflict, it will be more than welcome. Okay, now let's go for the hard part. Again, if conflict is that clear and we know that we are different, why we are following different way of managing our conflict, our behavior. Actually, the conflict management style was developed by Thomas Kuhlman as a conflict model, and he tried to mention that people are typically behave when they face any uncomfortable scenarios with different situations. That might be based on upbringing or even culture, and those will bring it will make more sense for me to find a way or better that I will respond to different uncomfortable scenarios when I have it in my life. So the Thomas Kuhlman is very essential and very simple. We can address it. He mentioned that we have two, we can say, dimensions that will govern the relationship while we are conflicting. Either we have the assertiveness, which means the extent of which the person will attempt to satisfy his own concern over others, or the cooperativeness, which means the extent of which the person attempts to satisfy others' person's concern than yours. So those two dimensions will give us 5 zones, where those zones will give us understanding more what pattern, what behavior I will take whenever I have a conflict situations. And let's take it one by one to understand how we are doing and what we are doing while we are confronting or we are conflicting. If we try to change the assertiveness and cooperativeness for something that will be more formal, we can say the importance of relationship that will be coming from the low to high, or the importance of achieving goals that will be coming from low to high. So we have 5 zones. Let's check the competing zone, the competing part. This will be the person who will be very assertive and uncooperative. An individual that will pursue his own concern, needs, than others at the other expense. The power-oriented here, in which you use whatever power seems to be appropriate to win you for your side. So it's me win, you lose. That will be a competition. Your ability to argue your ranking or even economic status can make a difference here. That's why sometimes they call it like opposing or the power conflict. So standing up for the power, defending your position will give you this. So competing, that I win, you lose. That will be very assertive, but it's still uncooperative. The second one will be that will be more accommodating. Let's have it accommodating. If we got for the accommodating, that will be here in the corner with the red line. It means that one party yields when to the other party. It means I'm unassertive because I'm low in assertiveness, and also it will give me more cooperation. I'm caring for the relationship more than achieving the goal. The complete opposite from the competition or the competing model. When accommodating, the individual neglects his own concern. No worries, I will lose this time. You just win, that's enough. And that will be to find the concern of the other person. This is an element of self-sacrifice. No worries, I can have it. This accommodation might take a form of selfless. I'm so generous, I'm so kind, I like to do charity or obeying the rules or following the system, whatever you call it. But still, this will give us in a very, very tough scenario because most of the time you are not able to achieve your goals. You are missing why you are here. You are missing if we are conflicting or we are opposing what I'm supposed to achieve, what I'm supposed to do. So in the accommodating way, you are unassertive, but you are so cooperative that you lose, I win. So that will be the very opposite for them, the competing. If we're going for the next one, that will be avoiding. Avoiding, that will be the unassertive and cooperative. I don't like to have it. I'm away. One or both parties seek to suppress the conflict. Just give it now. So the person neither pursue his own concern or even the individuals. Thus, he does not deal with the conflict. Just avoid. This avoiding strategy might take the form of diplomacy. I'm so diplomatic, just keep it for now. But this will never even solve any issue. So it's kind of postponing the issue. I'm waiting for more time or a better time or another time to check or to deal with this. This might be a good strategy in certain scenarios where the conflicts are not necessary. They are not real. Sometimes conflicts are not real. That will be nice to have this. But if you have a real conflict that will be deep, that will be unclear for you, and you are avoiding, keep avoiding, you will find it will accumulate one day and it will erupt. So avoiding can be good in certain limited time, but still it's not the best strategy that you can ever take in dealing with the conflict management. The fourth one would be the collaborating one. In this, it's good because you are to win. I win, you win. So in both parties are assertive and cooperative. I know what I know, I need to achieve, and I'm cooperative with you because we need to find a common ground. This is the complete opposite from the avoiding strategy. Collaborating involves the attempt to work with others. I'm working with you. We are fine together. Let's have a common ground. Let's have some kind of compromising to satisfy the needs or concern of both of us. It's going into an issue in a pinpoint. I'm just underlying what we have, what needs or wants we need to fulfill, and try to find a common ground. Between two persons that might take a form of exploring or disagreement. Or maybe even we can creating a new common ground that we have it. The collaborating one will be very good because it will depend on your interpersonal issues. If you are able to communicate well, to negotiate, to find and clear your conflict part or your issues, then you can find this kind of collaboration working very well. The best part here that both parties are win. Last but not least, the compromising. The compromising is a moderate impose, the assertiveness and cooperativeness. You're in between the competition and collaboration, avoiding and accommodation. It's only in the middle. So it's both assertive and cooperative. The objective here is to expand mutual beneficial relationship. I'm trying to find an acceptable solution that can satisfy everyone. Sometimes it's hard, but again, I'm trying to work on this. It's a part between competing and accommodating, as we mentioned, and also compromising what I'm aiming for, what target and goals I'm trying to achieve, in the favor of that we are agreeing, we are going along. Likewise, addressing issues more directly and avoiding it doesn't explore as much depth in collaboration. So compromising can be in between. In some situations or scenarios, compromising means that we are splitting the differences between two positions or exchanging the consensus or even check quick middle ground solution. We can split the work, we can have different ways, we can have this part and this part. So it will be partial winning for both of us, which is also good, it's not bad. But however, if we can go more into the collaboration mode than the compromising mode, we can creating more green areas, green solutions that will be more innovative, that can bring the best for the teams. So now it's a question for you. What style you are following if you have any kind of conflict? Are you competing, collaborating, avoiding totally, trying to accommodate, or compromise? Every single style of those will take you into a deep thinking, what I'm doing, and how people perceiving this. Are they following with me or no? If I'm competing, I'm taking the competing strategy. All the time I need to win, everyone else will lose. But my team is working on avoiding. So they have something that will be hidden, they will never share it, they will never tell, nothing. This unhealthy relationship, we cannot bring it. One on the top of achieving all your goals, and one of the least, I will not achieve any. So every time, whenever you go in a conflict, check. And most of the time we'll do this because it's part of our nature, of our personalities. We are upraised like this, or our belief system will bring us this, or my nature and my competence is giving me this. The 5 will be very crucial to understand, and also to analyze who else are using this one, who else I'm opposing this, or whenever I'm in conflict, who else will use this strategy, and how we can bring everyone to the table. Do we have something or no? Okay, more part to understand. Okay, conflict stages. Some people will ask, do you think conflict will come just like this from sky? We just sit and we have a conflict and a sudden, or it's only one scenario and we can find a conflict, or no? To understand more where conflicts will come from, let's go deeper and understand this kind of stages. In most of teams, we have 4 or 5 steps till the conflict resolution will come, from the first start to the end. From the latent conflict to the equilibrium, or we can the bush part that we can start. So first we have what we call the latent conflict. Most of conflicts will start basically under the surface. They are not determined yet, not expressed. And this is a very early stage in this theory. We call it the latent stage. And it means that participants are not yet aware there is a conflict, but maybe a hidden frustration, upset, some tense. So you need to check that something under the surface. At any time it can erupt. Sometimes this can be brewed or burned. That will come later. Sometimes it will be open one time. You'll find that your colleague will erupt one day. He will come very frustrated and then he will erupt. He will bring everything to the table now. It's because that he had a very deep latent conflict before, it never been resolved. Or some conflicts are very simple and small, they will go and they will flow away, you will never have it. So in this latent conflict, you as a person, you as a supervisor, as a manager, someone who is leading himself, you need to check whenever you have a latent conflict or you have some kind of frustration in your relationship. Why this? Why I feel like so? And we have different questions we ask ourselves that can bring to the table to a deep understanding why I have a conflict with this person in particular, with this scenario, with this situation. So check first if you have a latent conflict or no. Second, okay, one action will happen, a trigger. This trigger will giving what we call the triggering instant. It will give us to next stage that we have perceived and felt conflict. Now I can understand, I can feel that there's a conflict. I know that this is a stage will come like this one time or in different times. Depending on the events that will happen, the stimulus or the trigger that will happen, I will start to be aware that something's not well. I feel stress, I feel anxiety, I feel hostility, I feel that I need to be more defensive. Something is not good in this relationship. Whenever this person will speak, I'm starting to take the defense mechanism. I'm more hostile. So this will be a trigger that will give me a perceived and felt relationship about the conflict. Okay, after the trigger will happen and I have a scenario, then I have what we call it the conflict approach. Then now I need to take an action to interact with this person, to be involved in the scenario. So based on the style that we mentioned, I have the competing or avoiding, any one of the five, you will start to react. You start to have an action. So you make assumptions, you attack and blame, you take alliance belt, you interact with people, you take whatever you feel. Because now it's your turn. So it's my choice based on the conflict style, what will be intervention I will do and how I will handle this conflict, what I will do, interact. The stage number 4, after I'm interacting, now the other person or the opponent or the person I have conflict with already interacting. This either will bring us to a mutual, like collaboration or compromising. So we can start to negotiate forward. We can start to move forward from this part. Or we have avoidance competing. So no, the conflict will start to stand off and will be developed more and more. The stage number 5 will take that now we need to check what is the outcomes after this conflict. We get a conflict, we get a big fight about this idea, about how we can do it. And now everyone gave his own thoughts, words and concerns and everything. Now what? What are the outcomes that we have? Do we have a very positive resolution of this conflict? Do we have an options to proceed with, an alternate? Or no, we have an escalated issues, we have a relationship that distorted, whatever it would be. So if everything is going well with the conflict management, and you understand your style and the other person's style started to go more into collaboration mode, then you find what we call the new equilibrium. We bring a new understanding. We bring new terms and conditions we agree on. We have new methods or a policy or whatever it will have. So it brings something new. After this new equilibrium, you can check because it's supposed to be that your team productivity should be different. We had a conflict, we had a latent phase, we have some like power that will be dissolved or unused very well. And now we reached the equilibrium. So we started to assume that everyone now on a common ground. So they can go forward, and their productivity is supposed to increase more and more every single day. So from the latent phase to the equilibrium, it's a loop. And every day you can assume that you will have a conflict, either small or big. It's a challenge or something that you can handle or even avoid. But you need to check what is the latent phase you have, what is the trigger. This is very essential. If I cannot understand what the trigger, it means I'm not able to handle the conflict very well. So those are the 5 stages that any conflict will have. Let me check if you have any questions. Okay. So people who are watching, if you have any questions or concern, please just share it with us. Even if you have experience with conflict and you like to give us also what you did, how you handled or managed, it will be very appreciated. Okay, let's continue. Most of people will say that the role of managers in conflict management is very essential. And it will start with something very small and very simple, but very effective, which is the conflict detection. As we mentioned, if you have a latent conflict and it's not detected, nobody addresses it, and then accumulate it above each other, it means we have a very, very big issue that will come arise. So the role of managers here are so essential, and we can make it in a very simple steps, very simple parts. First, you need to understand and know the right time. It's all about timing. Timing is everything here. When it comes to managing conflict, if you are too late, that's we're having too much issues. And if you're too early, also it will bring two issues. So you need to understand the best time to take actions. And when there is a hard time to take an evidence to prove that employees can have a conflict. So mainly, we can say that managers will resolve conflict based on the trust they build with their teams. So if you are too late and you, as a leader, don't take the actions and confronting the issues that will happen, that might affect your trust. And also it might affect the relationship that you have with your team, because they know that you know that there is a conflict, but you are ignoring or avoiding. So know the right time is very crucial. Sometimes the new teams will have a conflict which is very healthy and very normal. Then it will be resolved by its own, because it's only a matter how we accommodate or how we collaborate together. But if it will still, you need to have an interaction, you need to address it when the right time for you to take an action with your team regarding the conflict resolution. Second one will be know your boundaries. This is very, very, very nice one, and very, we can say, elegant one. You need to. Conflict can be more complicated and unagreeable or unmanageable if you don't know the limitations and the boundaries of your employees. What's right and what's wrong? And we mentioned that we can say majority of conflicts will come based on the value system, the personal preference, the wants and needs that everyone will have. So you must know the risk and the rewards of conflict resolution within the boundaries of each employee. You need to know what to do, what not to do, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. This can be accomplished with the consistent coaching sessions more. So you need to speak more, you need to coach your team more, and check and reinforce the performance expectations for each employee. This not only allow you to identify the conflicts that they have and the boundaries they have, but also it will give you a standard way to prevent this conflict to happen again. Because sometimes you need to do small tweaks, small changes to accept diversity, to do inclusion of workplace and make everyone in. That will bring you more and more ideas about how to resolve it and how to influence them not to have a conflict in the future. We are different. This is the only fact that we can accept all. So to respect and accept differences and to understand that people will think and react differently than me, and the unique differences in people make you see the bright things about them, and you can understand that everyone can bring a different point of view, that will make also a very good detection of this. If you cannot ignore that we are different, if you don't blame people that they are different, then you can have it. And that's why lots of workplaces now are including this kind of diversity and inclusion and cultural workspace, how to work together while we are totally different. So beyond understanding how conflict could happen or be avoided, respecting the differences between personnel and your team members is very, very essential to open a door for new opportunities and professional growth for everyone inside your team. It will give you a privilege for everyone to be listened, because they will know that you are respecting them and respect why they have different preferences or different values or whatever they have. Number 4 is very good, and the last point any manager should do: confront attention. Don't avoid it. Leadership is often about doing things that most important to others like doing. But conflict resolution, sometimes they are postponed or don't like to confront it. I don't like to go with this debate. I know there's a tension, but I don't like to go, especially if you have a gender or have a race or you have what culture differences. You don't like to go deeper in these circumstances. But confronting that you have a conflict between your team members is very essential. It's mainly emotional states of mind that will take it more difficult to manage by time. So if you confront rather than allowing them to fester or fail to address, then it will happen. So the perception here is very, we can say, healthy to give up space that we can confront. Whatever you have any tension, let's go, let's analyze why we have it. Why this coming from? From where exactly? What would be the calculated risk if you are hesitant to ask yourself or address this? So opening a door for confronting the tension that you have inside your team, it also helps a lot for any managers to manage conflict, detect it from the beginning, and also address it very well. Okay, now we will speak about what should I do if I have a conflict. What is strategy I should take and follow to make it more smooth for me? I will never avoid, I will never neglect that I have a conflict with anyone, even with myself. But what will be the best strategy I can follow that make it more agile and easy for me to handle? Let's take it one by one and see if it's easy to be done or no. First, you need to separate the people from the problem. This is one of the biggest issues. If I don't like you, I don't like how you dress or how you talk, and then you give me a work, I don't accept it because I feel, no, this is not what's supposed to be done. So you need to split, you need to separate, segment between people, personal, and the problem itself that you are facing. So accepting conflict, it's very essential, and view the problem as a specific behavior or set of circumstances rather than the attributing negative feeling that I have towards this person. It will help me a lot to be more, we can say, intellectual, we can say more conscious about this relationship and what approach I can take to resolve it and manage this one. So this is very essential one. Split, don't mix between the people and personal emotions that you have with them and the problem that you are facing inside the team. Otherwise, it will be very hard for you to resolve it. Second, sometimes not everyone is very good in dealing with conflicts. So I need to have a mediator, someone in between. I try to identify someone who's trained in mediation of people, a group of people or person that might have expert in the part of the conversation and work toward the resolution. If this person is more natural, neutral, we can say it will be more beneficial for me. This might include establishing specific guideline, personal interaction behavior, something like performance evaluation might bring lots of conflict. So in some cases, I need to bring a mediator, someone who can make everyone on the same page to what extent, someone who will be more neutral for everyone to deal with. He will underline the issues that contribute to conflict. And if you have like a supervisor who are promoted now recently and having difficulty with managing someone who's once a co-worker, this underlying might be need a mediator who are able to listen actively, understand what is the issue, what are the hidden feelings that they have, and also try to figure out how to make this a strategy of collaboration and compromising more. So he needs to have a more natural language. He's not offensive, he's not defensive, he's not strong in his talk. So he will be the one who is soothing the scenario. And he can respond to any negative comments in non-personal way. He will take all the negative words, he can take comments, feedbacks, and then started to take it from the best positive way and positive perspective so everyone can understand. So if you are not able to resolve the conflict yourself, try to identify a mediator in between to soothe the relationship and see what all of you cannot see. Third part will be clarify the problem. It's very important from time to time to hear all the concern, because again, listening to each other will bring lots of perspectives and interest. You might see that priorities are different. And for example, if you are limiting resources and supporting your team project, you need to listen to the concern of each party, each member. And sometimes you find that it affects their ability to achieve the goals because they have a concern that's not addressed. So here you need to work as an analyzer and analyze the conflict. So check and ask yourself some questions. What triggered the conflict? You remember in the stages, what are the incidents that will trigger this and make this relationship uncomfortable? Who are angry with? Are you agreeing with someone? Are you angry with someone? You are not following them, you don't like to work with them, so you need to check. What are not getting you what you want? Do you have any limitations? Do you have any belief system? Do you have any feelings? And what you are afraid of losing? Why this issue and what I'm afraid to say? If I'm addressing what I have, I'm losing something? Do I raise something that will be uncomfortable for everyone, or that might bring some resolution to the table? Is your conflict or anger, it's accurate or over-exaggerated? Whenever you have any incident and you are reacting and you find a trigger and you analyze the trigger, ask yourself, is it was proper how I reacted, or I was over-exaggerated? And if so, why this triggered over-exaggerating me? Why this triggered me a lot? Maybe you'll find that will touch something very emotional and personal for you. It's not about them, it's all about me. So you can reframe how you are reacting in every conflict you are facing. Last question I'm asking myself whenever I'm clarifying the issue, how can conflict be resolved? Is it by open communication, negotiation, avoiding? What is strategy I need to follow to make sure that I will resolve this conflict? Maybe it's a small tweaks or changes that I will do. It will make everything more clear for everyone. Okay, since the beginning we said that exploring the option, conflicts will come from a unidirection. It's only my direction. It's only my way. If you are able to be open for brainstorming ideas, if you are open to explore all the options and make the work together as a strategy, you don't blame anyone. You don't get for the who are this or point someone, and try to check what's happening, what will be the new options that this person will bring to the table, what options we can explore together, what new changes we can have it. Lots of tension inside conflict can be resolved. Figuring out that you have an open mind. For this, you have a helicopter view, you have a strategic point that you can listen to everyone and check everything that you have, can make a very, very nice strategy for yourself and your team, especially if they feel that you are a really good listener. You really want to care about them. You really want to include their ideas and their options. Then it might soothe your way of conflict and make you going for the next level or the next conversation or communication about resolving this in a very simple way, because different perspectives means different options and might be innovative solutions or a new way of working for everyone. Okay. Most of the time we do lots of effort in communication. We involve and we brainstorm, we do everything. But at the end, we forget to agree. We need to agree on resolution. If we bring a new solution to the table, a new document, a new policy, a new procedure, whatever you have, we need to make sure that everyone is agreeing on this. Everyone is like giving consensus about, yes, we are here. We are involved. No one is left behind. Because if everyone is having a unique point and they rarely agree on every detail, then every step there will be a new conflict. Every step will be a new tension, and you don't need to have this. You need to make sure after agreeing and brainstorming and opening the options and doors that everyone will have, yes, a formal process that will be agreed on. Everyone will sign off, everyone will give written or oral, whatever agreement, that they will go through this for the next level so they can resolve any conflict in a very smooth way. Those are the 5 I can share with you. And to give a final thought, because I guess we are running out of time right now, conflict resolution is a process. It will never end. You will have like a habitual one, day by day, either small or big. But it's emotionally charged conflict. Whenever you have it and you have a cooling off period, that will be very, very nice. If you have a conflict, don't go now and don't confront while you are very angry or frustrated. Let all the emotions settle and cool off, because this will give you. If you will follow this and try to identify what you have, try to what's causing you to be so angry and so uncomfortable, and then try to check what feelings associated with this, why I felt so, what the trigger made me feel so. And then you try to identify, if I have this issue, if I have this problem, if I have this conflict, what will be the impact? How it will affect myself, my work, and everyone around. And then you decide, yes, I will go for this conflict resolution. This deserves to have enough energy and time to resolve it. Or no, it might be very minor, I can ignore it. It was one incident, nothing about it. And if it's really worth, and you feel that there will be impact in yourself and your work, then you work on the resolution. Try to open the doors, listen to everyone, respect everyone, and make sure that it's very natural. If everyone on the same page all the time, it means that we are doing something bad. So whenever the conflict is resolved, you feel that you are achieving something, that will be not an end point, it will be a starting point for personal and professional growth, that you will have it day by day. So I guess I'm done here. I will stop here regarding the conflict resolution, and I hope that you have questions we can address, or you have anything that will be done. Okay, so we have one question here. Do I need to confront like the conflict every time? Okay, thanks Nadine for this questions. And confronting is one of the strategies we are doing, and sometimes it's good to confront. Especially, I will go for it even if it's my conflict, it's personal conflict. So I'll try to confront with myself first. I will try to figure out why I feel so. But confronting with others, it's not necessary every time. We mentioned that sometimes you have a minor conflicts. Those minor conflicts might be very simple. They don't deserve to confront. And if you're confronting, it might be only a tiny behavior or issues or whatever you have. So it's not that huge that can impact yourself and the relationship that you need to confront every time. Confronting need to be very well calculated, otherwise it might disrupt your relationship. So the answer, mostly don't do it confronting every time, but address and analyze why you have a conflict every time. I hope I answered this question. Any other questions or comments? I appreciate it. Okay, so okay, another question. Confront the conflict means accepting it. Why should you give someone else the power to affect themselves? Okay, very, very good point. Okay, thank you, Darren. Okay, regarding this, it's not confronting. It doesn't mean all the time accepting. Confronting, it means I want to check it, because accepting conflict means no, I have a full understanding, a full awareness that I have something. I have some issue. So this issue need to be addressed well, need to be analyzed. I'm not giving anyone the power to affect me while I'm analyzing why I'm confronting. That's why. Checking the trigger, checking whenever you have a conflict, what triggered me? What emotions that combined with this trigger, and why? My manager didn't accept me to go on my weekly vacation or working extra hours. I don't like to go for extra hours or whatever. So I refused, so no, please don't. But he forced me. He forced me to come. He said, either take it or leave it. And then we started to debate a lot, and we are confronting that we have issue. And I overreacted to this. After I went home, I checked, analyzed, I figured out that I was not that sad or upset because he said no. He forced me to come. But because I was overwhelmed during the last week with so and so and so. So most of time conflicts will be combined between professional and personal. My status, my behavior, and what else will happen. So accepting is very nice because it's no, we will have a conflict. I have a conflict with myself every day. I will take this or that. I'll do this or no. So it's normal, but don't confront with others every time because sometimes it doesn't deserve to spend that time and energy to ruin this relationship. Like one more question, what are the qualities I need to gain and master conflict management? Okay, to master conflict management, you need at least the main 3 qualities or competencies you need to figure out. First, you need to manage yourself. If you master managing yourself, understand yourself, your emotions, your stability, that's why emotional intelligence is very, very essential for conflict resolution. I can understand my emotions and how it's come and where it come from. So it will be very essential for me, self-management. Second, it will go for analyzing. If you are able to analyze the scenarios in a very comprehensive way, I'm trying to figure out the root cause of everything, like we do in project management, why this conflict came, where it arose from, where is the root or origin of this, then it will be very essential. Third one will be the communication. So you need to have a self-management, analysis, and communication. If you do this in a very proper way, it will enable you to resolve any conflict in a simpler and easier way. Okay, there is more questions in workplace. Which type of conflict is more common? Okay, thank you. It's a very, very nice question, Avi. Actually, everything's there. You can name it. We have lots. And if you go deeper in conflict management, you will find we have interpersonal and personal, group and intra-group. We have different segments. But from my experience, it always starts with the personal. Because this will be the one, this will be the behavioral one. I do it like this and you do it like that. I like to do it like this, you do it like that. So most of the time it will be personal, and then it can be segregated. If your workplace is very organized and structured, sometimes the task conflict are not there. If it's not, then we'll start to debate and conflict about the task. But the personal and values will be the most. Okay, also the workplace, the common task conflict will happen only if you don't have a structured policies and procedures. So we are not agreeing on everything. Or you have a very agile, a startup. You have a startup, you don't have a corporate. And in this, everyone can bring something new. So task conflict can be very common in this way, but normally that you personalize or value will be the most. Like, should a manager interfere when there is a conflict among the teams, or he should let the team resolve their conflict by themselves? Very, very good question. Okay, managers are the maestros. They are the one who are managing everything and leading everything. They are managing the assets and they are leading the teams. Sometimes teams, and in team formation, we have like phases as well. So sometimes team will conflict for a certain time, and then they will get in a resolved and smooth way without any interaction, without any interference. But this will depend on the maturity of the team, how long they work together, their experience together, and also the personal aspect. So if you are a manager, you need to address, is my team is very mature enough so they can work together to work on this conflict resolution by their own, or I should interfere? This will be very essential to have it. But most of the time, managers will be involved in resolving, and neglecting and avoiding conflicts more than 80% will be the reason for some people either to leave or to be in silo mode, or different teams to have a very, very low productivity. So in my opinion, managers should interfere in every time. Like, do we need to discount our emotions? from conflicting situations? Do we need to be sympathetic to the situation or the person? Yes, this is also a very good part and very not easy. It's a little bit complicated because we don't disconnect our emotions, but we need to have an emotional intelligence. I need not to get rid of my emotions, but I need to understand why it's there. This is the point. If I understand why I'm angry, why I'm frustrated, is it because of this personal scenario or something different? Then it can bring something to the table. I can understand. Being sympathetic with any human, it will come back to you. It will be a very positive way because people want to get that I understand them. I feel them. I feel what you suffer. So if my manager feels that I'm frustrated and we got a conflict and he told me, yes, I know, I feel how you feel frustrated because you have that much work to do or you have very tough issue with the COVID, then he shows empathy or sympathy, which will be something will be prevalent for me to have it. But you are not disconnected. You only will be intelligent enough to understand what are emotions you have and why you have it. And if there is a root or trigger, what will trigger me? So this is the question. I hope I answered you. Okay. How can manager reduce conflict among his team? Okay. The kickoff meetings, whatever we have, the gathering we have, they, from a long time, we got what we call it, the emotional investment or social investment inside the teams. Social investment, it means that I'm bringing lots of events, bringing lots of incidents where people are working together to be emotionally adaptable. I give them time to know each other from everything. I give them time to interact in different way. I give them emotional and social part to know each other. Where you live, how many kids you have. So I'm investing in bringing emotional and social relationship inside the team. So this might soothing lots because imagine yourself in the first week in a new work and you're going for your colleague and you find that he's drinking coffee that's black and without sugar and nothing. You don't like this. You feel what he's doing, why he's doing this. It's very bad. But after 1 month, you know each other, you are friends more, you are, even it's not friends, if you are colleagues or co-workers together, you are team members. Wherever we come, maybe you will bring me the coffee I like. You know my taste, you know what I like, what I don't like. So the common resolution aspect to bring a human touch inside this and let people understand and respect the differences between each other. So if you can have it, it will be easy for you. If it's not, then it will be very hard for us to do it. Otherwise, you can do it with a tough way with the rules and regulations, but still conflict can be there and will be hidden. Okay, what else? How to deal with a team member who always raises conflict with a hard personality. Okay, very, very good one and very hard one. Okay, so hard personalities still, they are human. You need to figure out why they raise conflict a lot, why they conflict a lot. Do they have any personal issues? I give you an example. One time we had a very big conflict with one manager and her subordinate. And she kept telling me that I have a conflict with her all the time because every single aspect of the work she will do, she will come to show me up. I did this and did this. It's like a babysitting. I'm not managing her or leading her. It's like I'm babysitting her. So we are confronting a lot. I told her, okay, give her a space. Try to listen to her more, to know more about her personality and check why she's trying to show off herself that way. Why she's trying to maybe comment on everyone else's work. And she found that the lady, she didn't got that enough self-esteem, and she's trying to figure out a way how to prove herself. So by this way, she imagined this will bring me to the top. I will be much better. I will be much well noticed for my manager than the rest. So she was a troublemaker and confronting everyone a lot. So she decided to give her time where she will have every week one presentation about what she did as a person and what her team did as a whole team. By time, very little time, this lady started to rest, started to settle. There was no confronting, there was no issues with her. So check why they are hard personality, what they have inside, and then work on it. Thank you. I feel proper diet and exercise essential to manage the stress and able to comprehend those emotions. Yes, I guess we all need this. If you have a proper diet, if you have a good exercise, and you are sleeping well, you have less tension, then your capacity of healing or dealing with conflict will be very, very high. You don't have that much issues. And yes, I totally agree with you. We need all this, especially here. Okay. One more question about how to be flexible in the conflict and still able to stick to your opinion. Persuasion. If you have a point, if you have a valid point, if you have a very structured goal you like to achieve, and you like to really see that this goal will have something very positive and positive impact on everyone, not only myself. Because if you only think about yourself, then people will start to be susceptible or skeptical about what you do. Why do this? It's only for your sake. Then you are competing. And if you are in competition, nothing will be resolved. But if you start to think about the sake of everyone and start to have a clear goal you would like to achieve, maybe you need to have a different strategy, then, okay, take it to next level. I will not achieve my goal at once. I will not confronting the whole process. I will start to have a bit size. So every time I will achieve this part. Every time I will get aligned with everyone. And that's why strategy, that's why vision of the workplace of the team can be very essential to bring one to the table. We disagree to do this, but we agree on this and this and this. So it can bring everyone to the table. Don't compromise if you have a goal to achieve, especially if you're a leader or a manager, but find a way how to make people like it. You know, what's in it like it for me? Every time you have a conflict, try to figure out a way or a strategy how to bring for people the knowledge that what's in it for you, why you will gain this, why you need to follow this and you have it, why you need to collaborate, so what will be the gains that you have. So different perspective will bring people together. And if they feel that this is something new, change management is essential here. But if they feel something new with different points, then this will bring something good for the table, and you might not achieve everything at once, but you will do it. So if you have more questions, I guess we covered all. Thank you for you all. It was my pleasure. Thanks again for the TDRA for such a session. It's a very, very nice topic, and I saw all the topics are very great. So thanks for hosting this today, and I'll be happy to see you more times. And please deal with conflict as a challenge, not a blockstone for you. And every time you will have it, try to figure out what new strategy you will find based on the people that you're dealing with and how you can make the best benefit for everyone. Collaborate and make sure that you are the conflict manager who can resolve any conflict. Thank you, and I'll see you soon, inshallah. Thank you.